Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome back everybody to the next solo character challenge, single class. Oh, timer. And that is Blue Mage. Blue Mage is our number 4. People have voted for it, so I can actually take out the vote out of the bot for now. We have just finished the dancer, which was a rather random one. If someone would like to set up a straw poll for the next job, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm gonna just do it next time. Either way, we have just finished Dancer, which was a bit of a struggle to say the least. The very, very low HP total was quite the hurdle. A lot bigger than I originally anticipated, to be completely honest. But the Blue Mage is going to be fairly different. One of the biggest strengths of Blue Mage, or if you have a Blue Mage in your party, is knowledge. If you know a lot about the game, or at least if you know that certain things exist and you can look them up, Blue Mage is one of the most powerful classes in the entire game. And it also rewards planning ahead quite a bit. So you know how we end up just grinding for a while in order to get past the very first boss, Post-Carboss, since he's really not suited to be defeated by a single solo character. Well, for the Blue Mage, we actually don't want to overlevel. We want to have a very specific level for him, and you will soon see why. Because that will give us the quickest or the highest amount of damage output in order to take him out reasonably quickly. And that's the plan. The Blue Mage is also interesting in that it can equip swords, shields, I think medium weight armor. Despite it being a mage, he is actually pretty well equipped, or she, depending on whether we are going to be choosing fairies or butts. So, I'm going to start a raffle in chat now. If you would like to join, !join for joining the raffle here. And the raffle, how this works is, are we going to be choosing fairies or butts as our main character? Last time we chose butts because that is what Cloud chose. And we are going to be choosing next, which our main character is going to be. For reference, there is technically 5 total main characters, although in a sense only 4, depending on how you look at it. Because one of them gets replaced halfway through the game with another character. And the main reason why there's only 2 choices rather than 4 is because Butts is there for quite literally almost every single fight. Only a very minor mini-boss that I don't really account for much in the challenge at all. He is not present. Paris is missing for one other mini-boss that is a bit more tricky to take on, and just a little bit of planning is desirable for him. But either way, those are the 2 choices. So we have quite a few people joining, so you will be able to choose between those 2. But it's also a hilarious name. Might just be. Alrighty, I'm going to pick the winner. As soon as the meteor essentially lands and we gain control. Alrighty, and we choose a winner now. Hey Duckfist, thank you for the good luck. I really appreciate it. Okay, and the winner today is Space-Time Continuum. So, you get to choose whether we will be doing this solo character challenge with Butts, this guy here, or Ferris. Which one would you prefer? So battle speed we set to 6, because battle speed actually only affects enemies really, rather than you. So, in a sense you could say the lower the battle speed, the more difficult it is. Which in a solo character challenge, even with a class that has a really high power level like the Blue Mage, it's still enough of a challenge at 6. Message speed, the fastest, so we are the quickest. Command set to short, because this allows me to press left for the special ability, up for attack, down for items, right for the secondary ability, and that is just kind of convenient. I like doing that more. Memory cursor, so the game remembers which where we had the cursor last. And I'm gonna actually leave it mostly blue this time around for our main menu. And let's see, space-time continuum. Which one would you like? Berries or butts? You still have a bit of time to choose before we need to start fighting, or stop fighting for that matter. There's that. Yeah, actually I need to think about what I want to do with the naming of butts. Oh, you chose Ferris! Sorry, I kind of missed that earlier. Alrighty, we are going to be running this one with Ferris. Ferris is my personal favorite character, so I'm pretty happy about this. So we don't actually have a choice aside from actually attacking those goblins, which unfortunately in the process makes bots reach level 2, but well, not much I can do about that. Good evening to you, Lamber guy here, welcome. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, thank you very much, Space Time Continuing, for choosing, and here we go. Name Butt Stout. I guess we could. Or we could name him Sleepy or something like that. Do we have enough characters? How many characters do we have? Just enough. We have 6 characters total. Or would you guys suggest something else? Maybe, I don't know. Sleepy. Alright. We name him Sleepy. I'm sleepy. If you had 7, you would say Dirt Nap. That would work too. But it would also be fantastic. We could sometimes invoke the power of Dan to guard against the ground and floors, so they never attack us either. That would be an option too. The 7 characters you would say Marud, like Zelda. Yeah, I don't think Butts' name gets mentioned often enough that would be all that interesting in this game. And hey Rourke, welcome. We actually just finished Dancer. That reminds me, I should update the title, because our next challenge here is now Blue Mage. So, once again, for anybody who may have just joined us, welcome. This is the solo character single class challenge. Just one character, just a single class, and we try to beat the game with it. We just finished Dancer. We also beat Dragoon and White Mage previous to that. And I will not be having too much time in order to stream today, so I will be starting the Blue Mage and have to stop sometime soon-ish. Not entirely sure when that's going to be, but this is currently the plan on how this is going to go down. In order for us to have Ferris as our main character, we will just want to get her in the party as soon as possible. So Blue Mage is actually one of the classes that is already available from the very get-go right here. So essentially the first 6 classes that get unlocked in the Wind Shrine are Knight, Monk, Thief, Black Mage, White Mage and Blue Mage. So essentially it's almost like Final Fantasy 1 with the different character classes, the Knight being the fighter, the Monk being the Monk, the Thief being the Thief, the White Mage being White Mage, Black Mage being Black Mage, except the Red Mage is replaced with a Blue Mage, because Blue Mage is kind of a fairly different concept than a Red Mage. The main idea of a blue magic is essentially blue magic is not as much magic as it is just abilities from monsters. And those abilities range from rather obscure, not all that useful, to pretty insanely powerful if you land them, or if it works for that matter. And also, the way you learn blue magic is, in order to learn blue magic, you need to have a blue mage or a character with the passive ability learn in your party, and that character needs to get hit by a blue magic spell, and that is how you learn certain blue magics. When do you unlock Mango Mage? I don't think that is in this game here. You and your dancer pretty close to level 80. Actually, I think we were level 57. That's actually a good point. We could write that into our final sheet as well. I was level 57. Does anybody remember the level we were at with the Dragoon? That would be probably interesting too. Final Fantasy 9 Quina. Yes, Quina in Final Fantasy 9 is very much a blue mage. And I think Kite Sith is also a blue mage, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, you can abuse death. I will probably not be using death by math. I might. I'm not gonna promise anything. But I feel like the blue mage is going to be strong enough that I don't have to abuse death by math at all. Actually, that's the... I don't need to do this on the Super Nintendo version. How many final depositants on the dancer? 18 actually. 18 deaths and the 19th one. So that little wiggle I did there outside with the Jacobo is actually being used in order to skip one of the encounters in this cave here. Kimahara's limit in Final Fantasy X? Yes, actually, that's true. I never really understood Kimahara's limit in Final Fantasy X when I was playing. Nowadays it makes a lot more sense. Strago is in Final Fantasy VI. Actually, I have no idea how lore works in Final Fantasy VI. Or at least I had no idea. I kind of assume it's similar to this game here, but we'll see. And hey Grobbly, welcome to you. Welcome to you as well, Angel in Disguise, and anybody else who has joined us. Hope you're doing well. Who is this limit break in 8? I don't know that one. There's an enemy skill materia? Interesting. Finally got the good RNG via sword dances, pretty much. Really, towards the end, sword dances were less the issue and more that the combination of attacks just straight up killed us if I didn't manage to heal in between, since the dancer has such low total maximum HP. Lore in Final Fantasy VI is just that Dragon is to see it, if I remember, not hit it specifically. But yeah, I remember actually, because the only status, or the only thing that blind does in Final Fantasy VI is, instead of also reducing your chance to hit physically, lore also prevents Drago from learning lores, isn't it? That's the one effect that it actually has in Final Fantasy VI. I remember now. Hey Dingsbones, welcome to you. How are you doing? Also, by the way, just a little less than a week until the Yaga Monthly starts. So if you'd like to vote on the next Yaga Monthly as well, which theme we will have, I think that would probably be a good idea to just kind of look at that. Does not need to get hit by it, I see. So there's a certain abilities that you need to be able to get hit by and survive in order to learn it in Final Fantasy V here, since you're not going to learn any new abilities if you die after learning it, I guess. You need to survive the attack. Also, you need to win the battle in order to learn certain blue magics. You can't just get hit by it and then run away. That doesn't work. You're doing well? That sounds nice. Oh no, save the frogs. Frogs are friends, not food, guys. Alrighty. Let me actually give a full introduction to Final Fantasy V for anybody who might not be familiar with the game, because I imagine there might be people who watch the highlights / videos that would like to know a bit more about the game as an entirety. Story-wise, I'm not gonna be going too much into it at all, really, because it's a pretty straightforward story for the most part. However, as in gameplay, it is kind of the big thing about Final Fantasy V. Because in this game, you can, as soon as you unlock certain jobs, you can freely switch any of your characters to any job you desire. You can have 4 white mages in your party if you want to, or you can have one being a white mage, one being a knight, one being a blue mage, and one being a black mage, or a monk. Whatever you want. And the way this entire thing works is essentially you will learn certain abilities from those classes by just having them equipped and winning battles. In battles, you always gain a certain amount of ABP, which means ability points. With the certain amount of ability points, you will be able to use well, you will be able to learn and also master eventually classes. And those classes unlock passive abilities, active abilities, or higher level skills and such. And then, once you learn those, let's say you learn White Magic level 3 on a White Mage, and then you turn that White Mage into a Black Mage, now the Black Mage can also use up to 3rd level White Magic. And that's kind of the entire idea of how Final Fantasy V plays. There is up to, I think, 22 different job classes that are available to you. However, you only unlock them once you get past certain thresholds in the game, just so you're not quite overwhelmed by the amount of things that can take place. So, in this case, what I'm gonna do is I will be actually unlocking the job classes as soon as we get the first set of jobs after the first crystal. That is how I would like to handle it, and that is how we are going to go forward with it. I see. So because this is a solo character challenge, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I'm actually going to survive a little bit of thing. So this cutscene here is completely optional, you don't need to go for it, but after it I will be able to talk with a guy that gives me 5 regular potions. Potions heal for 50 HP. It's not a whole lot, but it's enough for the beginning at least. Later on it will take on quite a while until we finally are able to use high potions or buy high potions, because there's actually nothing in between. Regular potions heal for 50, high potions heal for 500. There's also elixirs that heal you to full. And that's it. So, potion healing variety is not the greatest in this game, but it is usually sufficient. So, solo character, that means I'm going to kill off the other characters. The way I tend to handle that is by having the other characters just kill themselves, and I will be already starting with fairies to try and take out enemies. But in this case, this one enemy is going to die in a single swing. Lena starts with a regular dagger, actually with a knife, And that is the literal weakest weapon in the entire game. Galuf doesn't start with any weapon at all. Alena and Galuf are both at level 1. Let me help you, Galuf, here. But basically starts at level 2 with a broadsword. So I hope the White Snake attacks Lena here. There we go. Alrighty. And we are actually essentially already in mode for solo character engaged. We don't have our job yet. We will get that as soon as we unlock the Wind Crystal. In my menu, I actually currently already have all the jobs unlocked because I'm currently using a cheat code because certain classes I would only get way later unlocked, which means it would take a while until I would finally be able to use those. So I think the more pragmatic choice is to just unlock them right away, because that also makes for rather interesting boss fights from the get-go rather than us going through like a third of the game before we have the other job classes. So those are black goblins. They have an ability called Goblin Punch, and that is actually some blue magic that I very much would like to have. As a matter of fact, that is the blue magic I'm looking for to get before I get through out of this dungeon and in order to defeat Carboss. What Goblin Punch does is it attacks with your weapon, just regular damage. However, the big deal about Goblin Punch is essentially that it deals damage equivalent to your weapon base strength. It's not exactly the same as an attack, although most of the time it is. The two advantages of Goblin Punch is, as a blue magic, is it doesn't cost any MP, so you can just use it over and over again, just as your regular attack instead. It does full damage from the back row, whereas normally physical attacks from the back row only deal half damage. But the biggest deal about it is that if an enemy has the same level as you deal 8 times damage. And that is insanely huge. So, this is Wing Raptor, essentially your generic tutorial boss. I'm just gonna whack him until he falls over. I probably will need to heal in between, because Breathwing is a thing. Breathwing deals 25% of my maximum health in damage. Right now that is only 18, but as time goes on, more and more enemies or different enemies will have that ability. So it will essentially deal more and more damage because my maximum HP will grow as well. So here I'm just waiting until he opens up his wings. Because he actually increases his defense by a lot when he closes his wings. Unless you are a berserker with stupid high strength, it's pretty much impossible to punch through that defense, but it's technically possible, I guess. I just don't recommend it. And with this, we should be able to defeat the Wing Raptor in just one more attack. No. We don't want to attack when its wings are closed, because then it just responds with its claws, and that does a lot of damage. It's really bad. That was really close, and just not quite good enough for us. Oh. Lambergeyer gifted a tier 1 sub to Frogs and Friends, not food. Thank you, Lambergeyer. And I really appreciate that. I really do. Frogs are indeed friends, not food. And welcome to you. I hope you enjoy your subscription. Oh, it was actually more than just one attack. Interestingly enough, Ferris comes with the strongest weapon. I'm gonna heal instead. Ferris comes with the strongest weapon here out of any character. She has a dagger right now. The dagger has the exact same attack strength as... Oh my goodness, again. A dagger has the exact same attack strength as a broadsword. I think anyways, actually might be slightly weaker. But daggers also have some weird other properties that we will be able to potentially take advantage of. Alright, this took a bit longer than I anticipated. Mainly because I didn't level up beforehand. But my main concern is I want to reach level 5. We're level 4 right now, and I do not want to be any higher than 5. This is really important. Let me actually see real quick. Is that true that the dagger is the same strength as... Okay, broadsword has technically one more attack. No, it's not just technically. It has one more attack. But the dagger can potentially give me more damage just because of how weird dagger works. So, we're going to go ahead and get the wind crystal. Oh, this is a fight that actually... No, I cannot get this right now. This might be too much experience in the end. But it's a preemptive. So the reason why I want to kill those mold wind enemies is because they have a 1 in 16 chance to drop me elixirs. Haha, and we get one. And we also unfortunately already just reached level 5. This makes it actually a bit more complicated for me to get certain blue magics. Because I will want to get them before I leave this area, but I also need to kill the enemies in order to learn blue magics. But hey, we got an elixir out of it. That's nice. By the way, sometimes I just go on a monologue and keep talking, forget to check chat. How are you guys doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hang on a second. Crow, thank you for the host. I appreciate that. How are you doing? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. And what were you doing? Were you actually doing runs with the new glitch that you discovered? So yeah, welcome everybody from Crow's chat on the channel. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Save the frogs! What if Mimic was the job class chosen for this one? You can't get that until the very end. I would be using, as you might be able to see in just a second here in the menu, I'm using a cheat code in order to unlock all the jobs from the get-go here. Since that would be kind of boring if I couldn't actually use the job until I finally get it, and for some of the jobs it takes way too long, and we would be missing out on a lot of interesting bosses. So here, as you can see, all of the jobs are already unlocked. I can already select them, including Mime. Which, by the way, interestingly enough, I've noticed that after the Water Shrine, the Mime is gone. Just curious. Either way, our chosen job today is the weird and elusive Blue Mage. Learn monster special attacks, and that is exactly how this goes. I'm gonna actually just keep the broadsword. Getting a leather shield is actually kind of nice. So, we're getting outside here real quick, then I go back inside in order to try and learn Era from the Mold Winds, hopefully without leveling up. So there is 3 blue magics in this area that I want to pick up. One is pretty much mandatory. In order to defeat Carboss reasonably well, I want to go ahead and learn Goblin Punch. Then the Moldwind enemies, on their second turn, they have, I think, a 1 in 3, or was it a 2 in 3 chance to use an ability called Era. And once again, the way you learn blue magic in this game is you need to get hit by enemies' attacks in order to then subsequently be able to use them yourself. Or more specifically, learn them. Alright, let me help you real quick. So I don't actually intend to win this fight here, I just want to get rid of my allies, so they are not in the way of a solo character challenge. Also, I will probably want to move Ferris into the back row soon, at least as soon as I get the Goblin Punch. So, once again, Goblin Punch deals 8 times damage if I'm the same level as the enemy. We have only 51 experience left as a buffer, because I need to stay at level 5 in order to deal good damage against Carboss, since Carboss is level 5. And I will probably try to take advantage on a number of occasions and just see what level certain bosses are. So I hope for a single Moldwild encounter, or a single Goblin encounter. Either one of those would be fine for me to learn blue magics. What can you do with Mime if you unlock it here? Mostly just attack. Mime is actually interesting in that I think you can mimic using an elixir without actually using an elixir. Meaning you can just use an elixir near yourself and then just mimic again and again and again, and essentially full heal every single turn. So first of all, I want to get the thing from those guys. Actually, I probably should have just waited until they use Goblin Punch on me. Now I'm just gonna wait until this guy uses Goblin Punch on me. Once again, Ferris has, as a blue mage, a passive ability called Learn. And if you get hit by a blue magic while you're learning, you will be able to learn that blue magic after winning the battle. You specifically need to win the battle. Running away does not work. There we go, Goblin Punch. We attack this guy. We win. How much experience is that? 40? Oh god. I'm not gonna be able to get the other blue magic now. I will have to come back later. And we learned Goblin Punch. I should not have killed anything, actually. Because I figured I might not be able to get Era, but I really hoped I would be able to get Vampire. Vampire is an ability from the bats in the cave that we visited earlier. The very first cave we visited. Yeah. Necromancer, yes. Necromancer, Gunslinger? Not called Gunslinger, it's a Cannoneer, Gladiator, and Oracle are Game Boy Advance only jobs, which means I would play the Game Boy Advance version when we choose those. I'm not quite ready yet to tackle those, but I will put them into the list eventually. And yes, Goblin Punch is really great for this run. Full damage from the back row. As I said before, essentially Goblin Punch is, for the most part, not always, just kind of as you were to regularly attack. Unless you specifically hit an enemy that is the exact same level as you are. Let me actually look up real quick what level the bats are. Just because... oh goodness. Battle also starts with bat. That's not what I'm looking for. Stop mentioning battle everywhere, please. There's 132 instances of stuff. The battle axe is not what I'm looking for. Come on, steel bat. There we go. Level 2 steel bat. By the way, this is the beginner's house. They will just allow you to take some random stuff if you tell them that you're a beginner. If you tell them that, no, I'm not a beginner, he goes, no loitering! Get out! Bonk. So yeah, you probably want to say you're a beginner here. Gives actually some pretty good stuff initially, honestly. Always useful because money is a bit of a problem, especially if you don't go and fight stuff. Because Blue Mage is kind of restrictive in that you want to be certain levels at certain points, which may or may not be keeping up for the future, but we'll see about that, let's put it that way. There's one thing in particular where I do not want to level over 33 before defeating XDEF in World 2. I'm not sure how good of an idea that is, but that's currently my plan. So Steel Bat gives 9 experience. So I believe we have 11 experience left over. So in theory, if there's a single Steel Bat encounter, and there is not. Alrighty. If I actually went for a single Goblin encounter rather than a double Goblin encounter, I would be able to get Vampire right now. So now I need to go and get Vampire later. As mentioned before, I'm going to try and get all the blue magics. That I can, anyways. Why did I not get Arrow? I need to defeat the Steel Bat in order to do so. But if I do that, I'm going to level up to level 6. And I want to get Carboss at level 5. For Goblin Punch. Goblin Punch deals 8 times damage if I am the same level as the enemy, and he is level 5. Oh yeah, Moldwind has Arrow. Same problem though. Vampire and Arrow. I would like to get both of them, I can't get either right now. Moldwind gives too much experience right now. Actually, maybe... No, actually, even a single Moldwind encounter would be too much experience, I think. There are certain blue magics you can only get when you can confuse enemies, and it will take a while until we actually have the capability of confusing enemies. We will only get that once we get the Dancing Dagger, and essentially whenever we attack, it's a 1 in 8 chance to use Tempting Tango and confuse enemies with it. So that will take a while. I'm gonna write that for you. So, I hope that clarifies it. Can you actually get sleep right here already? Nope. I want to get sleep, because we have fairies as our leader. I need to take care of Antline later on, and I plan on using sleep in order to do that. So, we don't need everything, we can just sell the leather hat, we can sell the staff that I got. We don't need the ether, so we just invest everything we have right now into elixirs and potions, because we kind of need to be able to stay alive for a while here. And that's the goal. And that's all we go for. Oh. I actually want to get into an encounter real quick and make sure that the others are going to be defeated before we tackle Carboss. Normally that's not that big of a deal because I'll go back into the wind trying to grind for a while, but right now that's not exactly what I'm going for. I was lucky to get an elixir just on the mold winds, but it's also kind of unlucky because those mold winds pretty much prevent me from getting the first 2 other blue magics, so I will be coming back later for them. Pretty much as soon as I get the Hiryu? No, I actually need to wait longer than that. I'm not gonna be able to go back until I have the airship, I think. Huh, interesting. We'll see. So what Vampire would do is it deals damage equivalent to how much HP I'm missing, and it heals me for that amount. Actually, I think it only heals me for half of that, and also only half of the HP I'm missing, but it can still be really powerful. I believe in the Game Boy Advance version there's a bug that it actually heals you for the full amount instead, and also deals the full amount of damage. Or maybe that's intended. Either way, I might be mixing that up. It might be the Super Nintendo version where it's the other way around. But even that half damage is really powerful because it deals both damage and heals for a lot if you are at low HP. Which is kind of a big deal against this upcoming boss here. The upcoming boss here is called Carboss, and Carboss is kind of a destroyer of all things that are solo characters, because he has 3 different things he can do. One is just attack. That's the best thing. If that happens, that is perfect. Then the second thing he can do is he can put you into critical HP with an ability called Tail Screw. And that is kind of the worst case scenario in a sense, because critical HP means 9 HP or less. If he manages to hit you physically just once after you are in critical HP, you're dead. And then to just kind of top it off, he also has an attack that simultaneously attacks and also stuns you. That's his special move. Each turn he has a 1 in 3 chance to use the attack that stuns you. Each turn he has a 1 in 3 chance to use just a regular attack. And on the second and third turn he has a chance to use the Tail Screw ability to put you into critical HP. So the perfect storm of bad luck is he first stuns you, then puts you into critical HP, and then he just kills you with a regular attack because you do not recover from getting stunned quick enough. He actually gets 2 attacks in before you recover from paralyzation. The higher the number, the friendlier, essentially. So, Carboss is a huge problem for a lot of solo characters that don't have particularly much damage, or this early on don't have a good weapon against him. But in our case, we just use a Goblin Punch. He has 650 HP, so 3 Goblin Punches will kill him. So he uses Tail Screw here. What I could do now is I could heal. Or alternatively, I could go for the Goblin Punch. I have a 1 in 3 chance to win if I just go for the Goblin Punch here. This is kind of where I wish I had Vampire instead, because I could just heal and deal damage simultaneously. 1 in 3 chance. I don't really want to use the elixir, but he has a 2 in 3 chance to kill me. Let's just go for it. 1 in 3 chance to win here. That is 480 damage. He needs to do his second tail screw right here. Otherwise I'm dead. And I'm dead. So that is death number 1. Essentially, I don't want to necessarily use an elixir if I can avoid that. Because even if I use the elixir, instead of just physically attacking like he just did, he could use the attack that also damages me, and then he might just kill me from physical attacks on top of that. So I have a 1 in 9 chance to win guaranteed, because 1 in 9 times he will just use 2 regular attacks. And then I guess one other specific scenario I'm also going to win if he just uses 2 tail screws afterwards. I guess actually 2 physical attacks is not guaranteed. Wait, why is everybody alive again? Didn't I save afterwards? Didn't I save after killing off everybody? I guess I didn't. I think I only healed up and then forgot. Yeah, I forgot to save afterwards. I'm a dummy. So same deal here. By the way, did you know with Goblin Punch hitting yourself, you deal a lot of damage. Those guys are only going to attack fairies, by the way. There is no luck involved. They're just ever only going to go for fairies. That's just the nature of those enemies. Alright, we're out of here. And I'm just going to go for this. So as you can see, we actually deal with Carboss in just 3 attacks. 3 successful attacks, so it's still a bit of subject to randomness, but still 3 attacks. A Black Mage has a similar thing where he can just use lightning, since he is weak to lightning. But aside from that, there's very few classes that have such an easy time as the Blue Mage or the Black Mage with Carboss. Alrighty. Good start. We want to see the physical attacks. Perfect. Also, by the way, we have a 10% chance to block physical attacks. That includes the attack that would paralyze us. So 2 out of 3 times we will win here, because even if he uses Tail Screw, I would kill him right here with a Goblin Punch, and that is Carboss dead. He's so much easier as a Blue Mage, I tell you, than any other class I had so far anyways. Vildra, no. So, we're actually it's going to be a while until we can take advantage of Goblin Punch again, because enemies are just really high level and I don't want to grind that high. Or alternatively, I would need to use some special other abilities in order to reduce their level so we are on the same level. I don't want to level up too high. Once again, my goal is to try and get to the end of World 2 at level 33. I'm not sure how well or not so well this will work, because I'm gonna be going to grind for a while in certain places to be able to afford stuff like an angel ring and or a flame ring. So we'll see. Oh yeah, I just realized I don't necessarily want to sell ethers in this case. Normally I just sell ethers in solo character challenge runs because I don't use magic anyways, but in this case Blue Mage in fact does use magic. So I kinda don't want to throw that away. I just realized I never really used the tents. I still pick them up. I probably want to just sell most of them. No, there's no X potions in this game. The only potions you have is potion for 50 HP, high potions 500 HP, and you can't buy those until a fair bit later. Actually, way too late in my book. And then elixirs. Those are the only real options. Let me actually double check. What level are those enemies around here? Level 10, level 11, level 10, level 11. So not really anything to particularly take advantage of. The skeletons are level 10. So if I want to take advantage of killing the skeletons quickly, I would want to level up to level 10. And that is fine. I actually do want to gain a few more levels. So that means we kill off our allies. Or well, we just make them sleepy. Very, very sleepy. Very, very quickly. And then we go ahead and take out some enemies with some goblin punches. Well, this is not going to do a whole lot of damage. As a matter of fact, I think I need 3 attacks in order to kill that guy. If I keep going goblin punch. So instead, what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna throw a potion at him. That does more damage. So Ferris is still really, really weak. You gain the level to level 6. Which is definitely a welcome addition. Also, as a blue mage, I guess I'm going to use tents more often, since that does refill 100 MP as well. You know what? I do feel like skeletons are not worth the effort. They are level 10, but their experience does not necessarily reflect that. However, those guys are probably worth my time. They are level 11. I think 3 potions will do the trick on each one of them. I'm not sure I'm gonna survive this though. I do deal a fair bit of physical damage, so it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. But on the bright side, those guys have a 1 in 16 chance to drop me an elixir as well, so that is kind of the best case scenario, so to speak. I get 2 elixirs from those guys, which is 1 in 256, that both of them give me an elixir. Unlikely, but hey, it could happen, who knows. Also, should I heal, or should I just go? Because I haven't managed to save since I beat Carboss. Also, Ferris just learned Observe. I was about to consider healing because if I get into a back attack, I would have been in pretty dire straits right there. So, Ferris just learned Observe, which is learning. That's the same thing actually. Just different translations call it different things. Either way, that is the Blue Mage passive ability to learn blue magics from enemies. So essentially the first blue magic ability that we learned is not exactly useful because we already inherently have that as a blue mage. I think there's only going to be one ability that will actually be somewhat useful-ish, but not really. That ability is Scan, which essentially just looks at an enemy and tells you some of their stats like level, current HP, current MP, I think. It's better than the spell scan, I think. Or it might be the exact same. Either way, if I just keep track of things myself properly, I never need to use it. But at the same time, it might come in handy when I'm not sure about certain things. But then again, this will take a while until we even get to that point. The music on the ship is so good. It is really nice, I agree. Although you do end up getting a little bit tired of it if you run in circles on this ship for like 20 hours. Yeah, sometimes you do that. Let's see, Goblin Punch. Still 30 damage, still not a whole lot. I'm gonna keep using potions, I guess. Actually, I probably don't even want to bother fighting those guys here. They're not enough experience for how much trouble they are. Also, I just realized I probably want to unequip Butts and the others. Because they have still more defense than necessary. You tried solo white mage and got really sick of this track. Yeah, I believe it. Oh. Well, that's awkward. I can't take off their equipment because they are currently sleeping. It would be kind of rude to take equipment from sleeping people, so I guess we just don't do that. Is there a level 2 ether in this game? Nope. Ether is just ether. Which means 40 MP restored, and that's it. So by the way, in case you're curious about the next boss's level, the upcoming boss's level is level 2. So unless I specifically stayed at level 2, however I would manage to do that, specifically Ferris I guess, I will not be able to Goblin Punch her for super effective damage. On the other hand, I can still Goblin Punch her for a bunch of damage, and that is kind of exactly what I plan on doing. I want to kill a few more enemies just to... Oh no, that's bad, we're running. See how much HP I'm losing? When this guy uses the tongue attack, it essentially inflicts the HP leak status onto me, which is... well, slip status as I like to call it, because it just slips away all of your HP really quickly. It actually speeds up a little bit when you are, or while you are in the menu, and just not doing anything. So in a sense, it kind of has the idea of you need to do your menus really quickly in order to not lose as much HP. Because eventually it just kind of slows down and goes away, so it's not too bad. But it does do quite a number on you. World map, yes. World map is really handy because I often just kind of don't exactly know where I want to go. So just looking it up real quick is really handy. in level 7. Level 7 is a little bit sketchy to take on the next boss. I'm actually going to go back and save before I go and take on the next boss, because this is significantly lower level than I am with other solo characters, just because of the nature of Blue Mage, you want to be that low level. So I'm gonna be fighting some more enemies around here. Let me actually real quick look up my stats for Ferris, because the stats are important in the sense that, unlike other games, whenever you gain a level, you don't just gain a bit of damage. Essentially need to meet certain thresholds in order to hit the next multiplier in damage, and that is kind of what I need to do. So Blue Mage only has 19 strength. That is really, really low. So that means the next multiplier we hit actually literally just at level 7, so my Goblin Punch will deal a little bit more damage than before now. Interestingly enough, if I were to attack with a Dagger, I should deal more damage now than I did before with the thing, but that does not count for Goblin Punch. So my goal currently is to level up to level 10, 11, around that area, and then see where we stand. Yeah, 45 damage against those guys. Those are Psycho Hell enemies. They have... oh. Ha! Interesting. They have exactly 90 HP. So 2 attacks will kill them exactly. Those Carcursor have 75 HP, so 2 attacks will also kill them, and same with the Skeleton at this point, who have 70 HP. None of those enemies have any defense at all, so we know exactly how much damage we deal each time we use this. So each individual weapon actually has a value for how much damage it will deal with a Goblin Punch. The curious thing is, there is certain weapons that attack differently than what their attack value suggests. One of those weapons is the fake Excalibur, or Excalibur, as it is called in this game. And you can take advantage of that knowledge quite simply by... I need to sleep instead of use potions. I don't have enough potions, I don't think. So you can take advantage of that by... normally when you attack with the Excalibur, normally you deal 1 damage. You never miss, you ignore defense, but you deal 1 damage, and that's all you do. But if you use Goblin Punch while having the Excalibur equipped, you actually benefit from the full power of it, including its element, which is Holy. So my current plan, which is going to be a bit far away from now, let's put it that way, but my current plan is to level up to level 33 and then use a Dark Shock on X-Def in World 2, because he is level 66. And then from there... I want to... he would be essentially level 33 as well, and then just Goblin Punch him with the fake Excalibur. That is my current plan. Is that gonna work out? I don't know. Probably not. Because I think 33 is a bit low for a solo character, but at the same time it's definitely doable. We'll see. Let's actually see real quick. How much HP do those Undead Rusks have? Undead Rusks have 130 HP. That tongue attack is so brutal. Thank you for blocking it, Ferris. 10% chance to block. No, the wrong guy! No. I need to run probably. I just saved, but I potentially need to run here. Okay, we should be fine. Oh well. Bit ugly, but we get through this. We are pretty low level, and 33 might be too low to reasonably defeat or get to the point where we can use that. Oh, it looks like those guys actually have 1 defense. So this was 82 damage, which means I actually need to use a potion to kill him. In a level. And yes, I'm aware that X-Death has really high magic evasion, and the level difference is also going to make it significantly less likely to hit. And you will land the Dark Shock. Dark Shock is actually not too bad. It is not that likely, but it would be fun. Oh wow. Tasty Beer TV, hello! Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the massive host, that's a lot of people. Welcome everybody, we are currently playing Final Fantasy V Solo Character Single Class Challenge. For anybody who does not know Final Fantasy V, you are allowed to switch between any job class that you have currently unlocked at any point you want with each of the characters. The idea is that you mix and match your abilities and jobs in any way, shape or form. But, as you might have guessed, the single job solo class challenge, whatever, solo character. The idea is that I'm only going to use 1 character that is only ever going to be a blue mage in this case. We just finished the dancer run, and, well, here we are trying to take on the blue mage, which is significantly more powerful, as long as you know what you're doing. And need to get a bit lucky anyways. So yeah, welcome guys, I hope you're having a pleasant day so far. And Tasty Beer TV, once again thank you very much. If I may ask, where do you come from and what did you do? I'm currently leveling here just a little bit, so we will have a bit of a reasonable shot against Siren. The next boss is not too difficult to defeat, but if I'm too low level, it will be a bit more awkward than it needs to be. And I kind of want to preserve the elixirs that I find in order to have them for later. You're a variety streamer and just kinda play whatever. That's so nice. For anybody who does not know me, I'm mostly a speedrunner, although recently I've turned more over to challenge runs and also casual playthroughs. But once in a while you will see, well, a speedrun here too. Worth noting, I guess, that I guess you could say a speedrun is a sort of challenge run anyways. Alrighty, enjoy your lurking Tasty Beer TV, thank you for the host, and I hope you get a bit healthier soon. The flu is really no fun. I've had second-hand experience with that, and that was already enough for me. Weed. By the way, those weird water thing enemies, they have a 1 in 16 chance to drop us elixir. So we could get really lucky to get more elixirs. You're level 9 right now. Just 1 more level and that would actually deal significantly more damage to the Psycho Head enemies and skeletons. Because Goblin Punch actually deals 8 times damage to an enemy that is the same level as I am. I ended up getting to the ghost ship here really early because I decided to defeat the previous boss at level 5. Normally with a solo character single class, you end up leveling for a fair bit longer before you get to defeat Carboss, just due to him being not a particularly friendly boss to defeat with a solo character. But as a blue mage with exactly level 5, you deal, or you kill him in 3 swings, which is incredibly useful. So we are level 9 right now. If I go for one more level, I will be level 10 and those car cursor enemies and skeletons will die to just a single goblin punch each. Then I can come back down here and kill all of the other enemies in a single goblin punch. I feel like that is worth it because enemies in the next few areas are not really worth fighting at all, since they just have not enough experience for how much trouble they are, let's put it that way. There is one enemy in particular that I will want to get a blue magic from, but that's about it. For anybody who does not necessarily know what a blue mage does, blue magic is essentially you learn monster abilities and use them. And monster abilities are very varied in what they can do, and they are usually rather unique and special, which is a huge appeal to the blue mage. Blue mage himself, with the abilities that you can learn, are really strong. I may want to heal here before I die. Oh yeah, I do want to heal. The blue mages are really strong if you know what you're doing. I kind of sort of have an idea what I'm doing for the most part, although I also need to just kind of look up something sometimes. So there's actually 2 blue magics that I would like to have already right now, but because I did not want to overlevel, I had to leave them behind for now and get them back later. So I'm gonna go back real quick. Save. Money. Ah, that should be fine. Save real quick and then we go ahead and hopefully get just a few single skeleton encounters until we are at the appropriate level to kill skeletons incredibly quickly, and also those called Krutal. This is the encounter I don't want to see, because that's too many enemies. I need 2 hits for each one of those enemies. If it's 1 hit for each of those enemies, it might be more reasonable. Would you learn Aqua Rake and use it often? Actually, Aqua Rake I'm gonna aim to learn as soon as I can. Because Aqua Rake, while it does cost a tremendous amount of MP, which is kind of one of the biggest downsides about the more powerful abilities of a blue mage, they cost a lot of MP. While they do cost a lot, it is also really strong and efficient to use for taking care of packs of enemies. With our previous character, the Dancer, we didn't have any form of area of effect attacks at all, neither did we have with the Dragoon or the White Mage. So having actually some area of effect in form of Aqua Rake is going to be a welcome change. Kill anything that is multiple of level 5? Yeah, that's pretty much the thing. I did not expect this encounter specifically to be this common around here, to be completely honest. Really? There are other encounters here sometimes. Alright, this is okay-ish, I guess. Well, I probably might as well killed the 4 enemy encounter. No, I guess this is okay. The blue mage, not the fastest, not the most health, not the most attack power, but you'll get through. As soon as you can start using certain magics in order to deal with enemies, your potential and power skyrockets, to say the least. I will be also abusing the fact that I can just equip rods and break them in order to take care of enemies really easily, in certain instances anyways. As mentioned earlier before, breaking rods is just, as long as you can equip a rod, which is I think about 6 different job classes, you can just break that rod and deal a ton of damage to enemies, and that pretty much trivializes the early game. If I can avoid it, I will not do that in the run here, but at the same time, I'm not gonna be too distraught if I eventually realize that, well, it's just more reasonable to just break a rod and be done with this boss than go and gain like 10 more levels or something like that. Or get lucky with a 1 in 20 chance. Which we had plenty of with the previous solo dancer run, if you would like to see that. Alrighty, we are level 10. Now, skeletons and cursor enemies are going to all fall in one hit, because they are exactly level 10 as well. Boom. 360 damage. Once I'm hitting level 11, the Undead Rusk and weird Psycho Head enemies will also fall in one hit. Yes, there is a way to get White Wind solo. Also, we just learned our second ability, which is actually learning. Wait, observe is something else then. Detect an enemy's HP and weakness. Oh, this is scan. Right. Later on we have another ability that detects enemies or reads enemies more precisely. And yes, as soon as you get the dancing dagger, you have the ability excuse me. You have the ability to confuse enemies. Wonder Rod later on would work as well, because it allows you to essentially use every blue magic and black magic, even if it's just once. So that's kind of neat. But I will most definitely just rely on the dancing dagger, since Wonder Rod's Confuse is a spell and relies on chance to hit, and a lot of enemies, they have rather good magic evasion, so they will just resist it. You only get one shot at it. Thank you, Thanks Bums. Wonder Rod does not do blue magic, only black and white magic. It starts with the weakest white magic spell and works its way through the list all the way up to the strongest one, and then starts with the weakest black magic spell, works its way all the way through the list to the strongest black magic spell, and then that's that. On a reset if you break it. I forgot about that. Right. I mean, normally when you break a rod, that rod is gone. But if you cast Reset, the state of the battle is reset to how it was at the very beginning. So breaking a Wonder Rod actually allows you to just reset the battle. That's curious. Remoted for everything except the Bard. Wow. Thank you, Drumble. Oh, I forgot to... This is actually the old vote. We will need to set up a new vote. I altered the command, but I didn't alter the announcement yet. Sorry, you will have to vote again. Because Blue Mage already won that vote. How much more? So 76 experience to level 11. At level 11 I'm gonna take out some more zombies inside the ship, because they have other abilities. You know what, I'm actually just kind of too lazy to... I was actually really looking forward to taking out some cursor enemies along the way, as well as other enemies, but the cursors pack, this one here specifically, just hasn't showed up until just now again. And previously, when I was looking just for a single skeleton, it was 6 times in a row or so. Kind of silly. Either way, those cursor enemies or water beast, whatever, I have no idea what they are. They can 1 in 16 times, as mentioned before, drop an elixir, and elixirs are going to be incredibly useful. Chemist run is going to be interesting. And remember this, I'm only going to go for the Berserker if we actually figure out a way to manipulate encounter RNG. in order to specifically target a RNG value that will allow us to win the final battle. Because I would want to do Solo Berserker on console on the Japanese version. But first we need to figure out whether it's even possible to somehow manipulate RNG. And yes, that would be a chemist, and no, I would not be using that Angel in Disguise. I think chemist is too much fun to use to just kind of cheese enemies like that. So I would be trying to take full advantage of the entire power of a chemist rather than instantly kill enemies. Alright, here we go. That's kind of the fight I would like to see. Those give me the most experience and also the highest chance of elixirs. So normally in solo character runs, you tend to use daggers most of the time, because daggers, if anything, are not much weaker with their offensive power, but their ability to add additional damage through, let's say, a weird formula how the damage is calculated, often trumps just an increase of 1 or 2 attack that would be on sword weapons instead. So if you have the choice between swords and daggers, you usually choose the dagger anyways, just because of the weirdness of it. Sometimes the sword is better, such as the case for a blue mage, because Goblin Punch does not actually use that same damage formula. At least I don't think it does. I guess it might. Pretty sure it just uses the weapon attack and that's it. And your level. And your strength. So unfortunately the other enemies are not going to die this easily to Goblin Punch because they are not level 11. And in case you're curious why the skeleton just did so little damage, it's because it is actually considered to be in the back row, which means physical attacks against him are halved, but also his physical attacks are halved in power. So yeah, Final Fantasy V, one of the games where if you level up just one level, you can get weaker. Usually that is indicated by you having less attack power. Because of how weird dagger formulas work, but sometimes it's because of other abilities and how they interact with levels specifically. I could have probably taken out Siren way earlier, but I know that she takes a lot of damage from Aero, the wind ability that I could have learned from Moldwinds, but because I was a dummy and had to take the Moldwind encounter for the chance of an elixir, I had too much experience and I couldn't kill anything more before I needed to take on Carboss. So I'm not gonna quite get that against Siren. Alright, I'm gonna go back safe and then we start walking towards Siren at this point. My plan is actually to get 2 more encounters before we are there. just so I level up to level 12, because there's very little reason for me to fight stuff if I don't just reach the next level threshold, really. Unfortunately, here on the not inside of the ship, enemies are not quite high enough level, so I want to actually fight them inside the ship instead. This is my favorite encounter. Alrighty, and this should pretty much do the trick if I'm not mistaken. And Sphere is gained level. Now we don't one-shot those enemies anymore, but we have a fair bit more HP to work with. And Siren is going to be much less of a problem. So, you will pretty much never see me go into the front row with the blue mage, unless I have a very specific reason for it. Which I don't currently have one. I will also want to go ahead and plan a fair bit further ahead, probably doing that offline, just to see what I want to do for each boss, like if there is more bosses that I want to have specific levels for, or whether there is other things that I want to handle differently, stuff like that. And yeah, someone, who was it, mentioned earlier that the chance to hit X-Def in World 2 with Dark Shock at level 33 is kinda small, so I probably don't even want to bother with trying that. I didn't initially think about it, like I know that the chance was small to hit Dark Shock, but I didn't consider it to be that low. Alrighty, and upcoming is the next boss, Siren. She only has like, what was it, 950 HP if I'm not mistaken, and has two separate forms. One is a human form and one is a undead form. The human form has very low physical defense, but uses various spells that can be pretty bad for you. And the undead form has very high high physical defense, but very low magical defense. But also does a lot of physical damage. So, back row it is for most of the fight. And all I'm gonna do really is, I'm just gonna Goblin punch her, even though it's not 8 times damage, it's still the most damage I can do to her currently human form. Haste means she goes about 4 times per my 1 turn, which is not pleasant, but also not much I can do about that. So she just used armor, which halves all the physical damage I would deal. Thankfully, when she turns into an undead form, all her buffs are gone. That includes armor, but also haste. Now that she's undead, I'm gonna throw potions at her. So we dealt about 100 damage so far. That's 150, so this will take a while to take her out. And I may want to just use the elixir to get this fight over with a bit quicker. 200 damage. Bear Hug would poison me if it hit, but thankfully the 10% chance to avoid that from happening just kicked in. So that was kinda nice. 350. Mute. So we are silenced. But hey, did you know that we cannot silence blue magic? Because it's monster abilities which are unsilenceable. Which is kind of a weird, I guess, benefit of the blue mage. About 300. I know it's 5 less each time, so we need to do about 1000 damage in a sense. I just realized I might not have enough potions if I use them like this. This is going to be more difficult than I anticipated. Mainly because I really don't have the wind spell that I would like to use against her. So 450, we are about halfway, kinda. So, using the elixir here. A Phoenix Down does not work against her because she is considered to be a heavy enemy, and heavy enemies cannot be instantly killed by usual means, let's put it that way. Greetings to you, IR lead, welcome. How are you doing? And yes, Blue Mage is OP in a sense. Oh, slow. Slow would be insanely bad if we get hit by it. Thankfully, well, we resisted it. Oh, non-heal, that's mean. Slow would be really, really bad because slow never wears off and it does just a load of damage. I'm really missing that. I don't have any elixirs either anymore. I'm really missing that wind spell. Would I actually not be able to take out Siren? I thought she would not be that big of a problem, but because I don't have arrow, she will end up probably being a lot tougher than I anticipated. I did not remove the poison because I figured I'm going to get poisoned here again anyways, which is true. Elixir for the win. Yeah, we don't have that many. I need to actually go rather aggressive in order to try and deal as much damage as I can. Haste is bad for us, because then she just goes through her human form really, really quickly. And sleep really doesn't help, because the only way we wake up is if we get hit by a physical attack. There's nothing else that removes sleep. And unfortunately, she just does enough damage that I'm gonna die. Alright, death number 2. It turns out if you're not prepared for Siren, she might actually come back to bite you. And that was mildly unexpected. Okay, so I guess my best option is to go and level up and gain. If I had a second elixir, we would have been able to take her on. But I should not have used all the potions while leveling. And now I also don't have an easy way to deal with enemies anymore. Okay, this is going to take a while now. That is mildly unexpected. And all because I don't have arrow. It actually might be faster for me to restart and get arrow and then come back here. Curiously enough. So removing the leather armor. Removing leather armor. Removing the leather armor. Oops, you can keep the broadsword. Actually, you get the flail to deal with yourself quicker. So, yeah, that actually might be what we end up doing here. Yeah, elixir is kind of the idea. I need... If we get a second elixir, that is going to be what I'm looking for here. And I'm not gonna fight this encounter here. This is... The Psycho Heads do too much damage with their slip status attack. No, I don't have Vampire. Because, once again, I leveled up too high, so... If I were to try that... I would have just over-leveled and not been able to take on Carboss easily anymore. Although I remember I once did a solo character 4-drop fiesta, starting with a Blue Mage. And the interesting thing about that was that I did actually accidentally overlevel. I thought Carboss was level 6, and so I leveled up to level 6 with the blue mage. You can miss yourself? Wow, really? Either way, I leveled up to level 6 with the blue mage, which that's not quite what you want to do, let's put it that way. But Carboss was surprisingly simple thanks to being able to use Vampire against him when he puts you at critical HP. So it dealt a ton of damage while also healing up the blue mage simultaneously. You can miss yourself in this game, indeed. Alrighty, we have a 1 in 16 chance to get elixirs from cursor enemies and the undead rusk enemies. Right now I'm actually still level 11 to Goblin punch them. I want the double undead rusk encounter actually. For the highest chance of elixirs per experience earned, I guess. There we go. Precisely what I needed. Begin the level, and unfortunately no elixir, which means killing enemies now is going to slow down to a crawl. Unfortunately not the pleasant kind of crawl. Is that a pleasant kind of crawl? I don't even know. We need 4 Goblin punches to take care of one undead rusk enemy. Actually, let me test real quick. Dagger only has 1 less attack, but in theory I would gain more damage from it if I attack physically with it. Nope. As I expected, Goblin Punch doesn't care about the weird dagger formula at all. Oh well, I guess there's worse. But then again, might just be easier to go for arrow. Even Vampire would help us a lot against Siren, just because it heals us while also dealing a ton of damage. Although, if you use a life-draining ability to heal yourself, if the enemy is undead, the effect actually gets reversed, and that is true for Siren as well, when she is in her undead form, but we would be able to use it against her human form. Goblin Punch damage works. If you are the same level as an enemy, you deal 8 times damage. That's it. Also, Goblin Punch damage is always just kind of a straight number from your level and the weapon's attack damage value. That's it. Because I just leveled up to level 12, and those guys are level 11, we are no longer on the same level, so I don't deal 8 times damage anymore. Also, instead of having the easy way of just healing via potions, I have to go back now to heal via using the inn here, which means I have to kill off my allies every time. Siren is level 2, so she's actually lower level than Carboss. And yes, Hero DVD, that is exactly what I wanted to use, but it looks like level 33 is not the way to go. And I don't want to level up to level 66 for X-Death in World 2. I think that is a horrible idea. Alrighty, back we go for saving real quick. For healing, I guess, more accurately. Also, one thing I'm missing is actually leather shoes. Or can you not equip them? No, for some reason I didn't pick up leather shoes. I was supposed to pick up some leather shoes from... Oh, that's when you defeat the Goblin encounter in the beginner's house that I skipped. Right. Leather shoes would give me +1 defense, which this early on 1 defense more or less actually does make a substantial difference, because it doesn't reduce the damage by 1, it reduces the attack damage or the base damage by 1, which then subsequently gets multiplied with whatever the modifier is of the enemy. This counter is not worth it. An encounter is not worth it either. There's another barrel or chest in the first time that gives you leather shoes. Did I miss that? I thought I checked everything. But maybe I was just streaming. Oh, that's on the right side of the house. I meant to go there, but I probably only... well, I didn't, I guess. I'm gonna give you a dagger, which is actually more damage than a knife. So you deal a bit more damage to yourself. It also ignores enemy defense. Does it? I didn't know it ignored enemy defense if you are the same level. That's interesting. Some enemies that are normally all but immune to physical damage can be killed by Goblin Punch. Oh, alrighty, learn something new. Thank you for the information. Semi-Krill, this is a solo character challenge, which means only one character gets to run through the entirety of the game, which means I have to kill off the other characters for them to not help in any way, shape or form. And, well, that's why I killed them off. Hang on. Hey Thorgrim, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you. Welcome. How are you doing? Delicious coffee. I see. Enjoy your coffee. I wonder whether it would be faster for me to finish this section here by instead going to reset back to when I was still level 11, kill 2 sets of undead rusks and then reset again in case I didn't get the elixir. Would probably be faster. Also, arguably it would be faster to just go back and get Aero instead. I'm really missing that silly spell. Let me actually double check. What is the next level where I would get an additional attack modifier? For my blue mage here. With only 19 strength. We would need to be... level 14, we actually gain a little bit more attack damage. So level 14 would probably be a reasonable goal. If a bit of a slow one. Oops, I did not mean to attack you, sorry. Mistake. Yes, I only the rod is actually in the town right after the ghost ship here. I'm gonna make up for that by attacking you instead of using Goblin Punch this time. And yeah, you can skip her summoning the husband, but at the same time I have a different plan in order to take care of him, actually. And that is what I would like to try and do. Not entirely sure whether that is going to work out, but I will certainly try. Actually, what encounters are inside the cave sections in the next mountain? Does anybody know that? Are there any more bats by chance? Or is it just the birds? No elixirs? Come on, we need an elixir, please. Actually, is there a comprehensive list of what enemies can appear in which area? So the power of the blue mage. I've been talking all big and grand about it. And then I kind of failed to do the most important part, which is preparation. Pick up the blue magic. That would certainly actually help a lot here. What are you looking for? Is there any enemy in the upcoming areas that knows vampire as well? Like, are there any steel bats? I don't think I can go back until a fair bit later in order to grab vampire again. At least I'm pretty sure about that. Which might be reason enough to just go back, really. That alone might be the reason to go back, because I might just want to restart this, purely based on not having Vampire. Hero would be handy too, but really Vampire would probably save me a lot of headache. I'm pretty sure Carboss is not that big of a deal. I could kill him rather quickly again. Alright, I'm actually going to do it this way. I will have to soon, very soon actually stop playing. So let me just grab one more encounter here. And then I will be going ahead and send you to somebody that is worth watching. And I will start planning offline as to what I want to do at which turn, where I want to pick up blue magics, and also where or what I want to do for upcoming bosses. I kind of planned on doing this while I would be grinding a little bit on wolves or something along those lines, but it turns out that it was kind of necessary right now already. I might end up coming back and just decide to just start this entire challenge over again, because I might end up being more reasonable. Can I do that once I get the dragon, Yainuki? I thought I needed to wait until the airship actually, but if it's with the dragon then that's not too bad. So, hope for an elixir. That would be lovely. 1 in 16 chance per undead Rusk killed, so that means 2 times a 1 in 16 chance, which is not 2 in 16. As a matter of fact, it's a 15 in 16 chance to not get it per undead Rusk. Then you do that. Calculate 15 times 15 divided by 16 divided by 16 in order to get the percentage chance to not get an elixir. And that would be the number. And it turns out that we got an elixir. Nice. Okay, that means we are just going to continue running, but not for today. So, as mentioned before, I don't quite have too much time to continue for today, but I hope you enjoyed what you saw. I hope you might enjoy the continuous solo character challenges. I have to admit, I'm also a bit tired today. Usually I try to explain a bit better what is going on, and also my thought process is a little bit more coherent, although not really actually. I'm kind of babbling around a lot. But usually people like lurking here. So, I hope you enjoyed this, one way or another. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, for lurking. And well, hopefully until next time. Take care everybody, and thank you very much.